Hello. Let me get to. The heck is my. That's not my live stream. Here we go. Hello. Let me see who's here. Margot, Deborah, K-Rox, Sherry. How are you? Liza Ward. Everybody coming in? Let me see. So, I made this up because here's Donna, the puppet master. She has Wendy, who she controls and is the is the voice and everything for. And she says, "Mom, I don't look good in stripes." And then Charlie, who's been found guilty today, is like, "Mom, you said we were above the law." And then Harvey's over here saying, "Folks on social media say I may escape charges, but Donna's a goner." Oh, Donna, meddling mama puppet master. Wow. And look who's there, because Donna's going to be the next arrest. I don't know how she hasn't been arrested already. Donna, you're in trouble, girl. Girl, you're in trouble. So Donna Adelson is incriminated so bad on those wiretaps and everything. Arrest, I say, is imminent. Donna's probably looking up places in Mexico, seeing how she can get out of there. Right, Donna? Cuba, maybe? Where are you going, Donna? Where are you going? Donna? Couldn't you have just stopped? Back in 2016, were they saying that following Charlie Adelson's arrest, attention shifts to Katie Magbanua's trial, but Donna. So let's see. Wendy spoke about her husband's murder several years ago, saying on July 18th, 2014, someone shot my ex-husband in the head while he was pulling into our garage. Yeah, well, it wasn't our garage anymore because Wendy left that house. Sorry, Wendy, that wasn't your garage anymore. Your hubby was living there alone, and I believe he had a girlfriend at the time now because you left him after he tried to work things out with you, right? After he dropped our then 3 and 4-year-old sons off at school. I only found out this information when the police picked me up from a lunch date I was having with 2 girlfriends and insisted that I come with them back to the station, and then interrogated me for 8 straight hours because it's usually the ex-wife. But in your case, Wendy, wasn't that true? Isn't it the ex-wife that started all this? I'm not really okay. I list the things that are going well when people ask the question. My children are thriving and happy. Are they really, Wendy? We live with my parents who are incredibly devoted to our well-being. Really? Devoted to your well-being? Did you know that everybody read those emails from your mother, and that doesn't sound like a healthy relationship at all, Wendy. I don't think you know what a healthy relationship is, Wendy. I started my own immigration practice, and I just signed up to do a 1-year clerkship with the federal 11th Circuit in September, which means I can get off Obamacare and have 1 year guaranteed of a steady income. Well, maybe you'll have a steady income in prison too, Wendy, making license plates, or I think maybe working on a lamp. Maybe you could help others. Maybe you could be a jail lawyer and your brother's going to be a prison dentist. I don't know. She said, but the truth is that I miss my life. I bet you Charlie does too. I was a professor at Florida State University College of Law. I was so proud to be a public interest attorney and a mentor to my students. No, you really weren't, because your husband was the one that got you a job, right, as a favor, and you were never happy because you felt completely in his shadow, right? Isn't that true, Wendy? The novel I wrote about my clients' stories, no, that novel you wrote was about your life and how unhappy you were in Tallahassee. Has been chosen as the common read for all first-year students at FSU. In August, I was supposed to be the commencement speaker, and then I was supposed to take my brain cancer surviving, just turned 70 father on a trip to Machu Picchu. And I don't get to complain that I didn't do any of those things because I'm alive. Well, that's the truth, right? Because you are alive, where Dan Markel is not. Yes. That's what Wendy. And then she says these crazy things. She says she doesn't know whether to say late ex-husband because it sounds like latex husband. And then she continues to say latex husband. Right? Isn't that right, Wendy? Let's see. So Wendy wrote a book called This Is Our Story. This Is Our Story follows the lives of Rosa and Milla, two young women from different countries who become victims of human trafficking when duped into domestic servitude and commercial sexual exploitation in the American Southeast. Their experiences with the underbelly of globalization here in our own backyard and the legal battles they wage against their traffickers with their immigration attorney, Lily, who is Wendy, but she says it's not, are told in their own voices and hers in vivid and compelling detail. Fortunately, Wendy Adelson has written a novel based on her vast experience, vast, that allows the reader to enter the painful and isolated world of human trafficking. She opens our mind and our hearts to the struggles of young women, we would have never had the opportunity to meet. We are captivated and devastated by her stories, and we want to learn more. Wendy's book deeply touched me as a grandmother with 3 young granddaughters, and it would certainly appeal to the high school and college students I serve every day. These are stories to be told and retold until we work together, both locally and internationally, to assure that human trafficking is no longer tolerated. And that was by Rhodey Thompson, Southeast Peace Jam Director, Florida State University. Let's see what the reviews on Wendy's book are. Remember we would read Adelson's reviews? Or the other lady's reviews? Okay, let's see. This book was not worth the $14.99 I shelled out. It read more like a $2.99 self-published book. Overall, it was an all-right read, but the parts where the author talked about her own life were just boring. I skimmed over those parts because her life was about as interesting as dry toast. I get it. You're a lawyer. I get it. You spend hours in your own head thinking you are different and important. So 2 stars. Let's see what else we have here. The stories of the women trafficked in this book are good enough, but I completely skimmed through the boring narrative of the author's own inflated, narcissistic entries about her life and self-importance. I was not interested in her personal life and issues with her husband whatsoever. Additionally, we come to find that the stories are actually made up. The characters, a combination of victims the author says she has helped. So none of the stories are actually real, but mixtures of the experiences of several victims. While I applaud any person who champions the plight of trafficking victims, to me, this book just felt like an attempt by the author to inflate her own egocentricities. This book should be $1.99. Author takes away from the story when she incorporates her own life, which is told with bias, of course. Nope. This is just no. Very poorly written and boring. The time it takes to read this, you will never get back. Also, as an aside, she and her family are embroiled in the murder for hire of her lawyer husband in real life. I read online that the prosecutor, Georgia Kappelman in Tallahassee, Florida, has this author, Wendy Adelson, and her mother, Donna Adelson, down as co-conspirators to her husband's murder. It's all online. Go to YouTube and you'll actually see this author, Wendy Adelson, on the stand. Amazing insight into the deep underworld of the nitty-gritty. A woman comes to America to escape a horrid past, only to be thrown into the deep, seedy underworld. Barely surviving in the belly of the ghetto, she sees a light. When she meets her Prince Charming, he extends his hand to her. His family becomes her family. They bedazzle her with gifts and promises until suddenly they desperately need her help. Her connections help rescue their own damsel in distress with a murder-for-hire scheme. Wendy Adelson murdered her husband. She wasn't holding the gun, but she was 100% involved. She tried to claim her boyfriend. I mean, really. If she is not convicted, I hope she lives a life of torment. Wendy, just know Jesus knows, and when your kids are old enough, they will too. I can't believe she gets to make money off this murder. That's written by a reviewer. Let's see here. A literary masterpiece just like Tolstoy's Anna Karenina. I've learned from this book that if you don't have literary skills, you have to practice law. Frankly, I haven't read all of it. It would be cruel and unusual punishment. Florida, please don't encourage all students to be writers. If you have talent, you don't need writers' workshops and vice versa. Well, that's not true about writers' workshops, but... Okay, the subject at hand is enormously important and in need of more awareness and implementation of proactive plans of action. No matter the content of this book, once you realize that the author is none other than Wendy Adelson, a well-known murderer, allegedly, it just seems useless at this point. To add insult to injury, Wendy Adelson has jacked up the price of the book in an attempt to profit from ongoing media coverage of the shooting. I pity her. As a novel, this is an absolutely dreadful piece of work. Inept writing, one cliche after another, ghastly amateurish stuff. You'd think Miss Adelson had never encountered decent literature in her life. But in light of the real-life murder of the author's husband, Professor Dan Markel, parts of her book have a ghoulish fascination to them. The parts where the heroic protagonist lawyer whines on about how awful her husband is and how she feels trapped in her marriage and desperate to move on. Expect to hear more about it as an item of evidence in the ongoing murder case in Florida. This is the worst book ever. It almost felt like it was written by a teenager. I do not recommend this book to anyone. Plus, the author complains too much about a privileged life. Very boring read. Isn't this author the woman that was married to the guy who got shot in Tallahassee? I bet she and her family hired that guy. I listened to the podcast. She's guilty as HE double hockey sticks. Okay, trust me, this book isn't worth $1, much less 25. Storyline is weak. Hard to follow this book. The narrative is poorly written, and once you realize this author helped murder her husband in real life, you'll quickly realize that it's hard to really get into this book. Not worth reading. Having money obviously does not make you a good author. It was just okay. The storyline and characters were great, but some parts dragged on, making it a bit boring. Terrible writing skills. Very confused about the positive reviews. Horribly written. Just get at the library or used. This author had her husband killed. I'm serious. I am very late to the Dan Markel murder case, having not known anything about the grisly crime until I stumbled across old trial footage on YouTube completely by chance recently. Wendy Adelson, the author of this book, and Dan Markel's ex-wife was what initially caught my attention. I thought she was really pretty and her accomplishments were beyond impressive. High school valedictorian, a master's from Cambridge, Tier 1 law degree. But throughout the trial, witness interviews and actual testimony were full of exceedingly negative opinions regarding Wendy and questioned her suspicious conduct before, during, and after her husband's murder. Both the defense and prosecution did not try to hide their own contempt and disdain for her too. Yikes! Although 3 other conspirators have already been found guilty, make that 4, in the Markel murder, the game is still afoot. The Adelson family member trials are still coming up. Now its fundamental tenant, Wendy, remains innocent until proven guilty, but the things she said and done in the past make one wonder to what degree, if any, she was involved. She had so much going for her, so much to lose. She's a riddle wrapped in a mystery inside an enigma, that's for sure. I don't think I'm alone in saying Wendy herself may be the main reason people are fascinated with this case. Like countless others, I dropped down into an endless rabbit hole, watching video after video, reading everything I could, trying to find out the truth. During the 2 most recent real-life murder trials, This Is Our Story was mentioned by the defense and prosecutors. That's how I first learned about this book. It's essentially a fictionalized reimaging of Wendy's own life story. And by the way, it's pretty clear she wrote this book as an excuse to talk about herself more than anything. Wendy was a big city girl who got married and wound up in a small town, Tallahassee, working as a human rights and immigration lawyer just like her main character, attorney Lily. Other names and places were simply changed. For example, Tallahassee became Hiawassee Springs. Her husband Dan became Josh. Josh taught English instead of law like Dan did, but both were still college professors. I noticed this book was not 100% autobiographical, as there were many major noticeable differences between the real-life characters and their fictional counterparts, but it was close enough that I thought This Is Our Story might provide some tantalizing, fly-on-the-wall glimpses behind closed doors of Wendy and Dan in the years leading up to the murder. Disregard anyone's attitudes about Wendy herself. Just reviewing this book by itself, This Is Our Story is an average first novel. It's not great, but it's not terrible either. Effort and thought clearly went into it. It means well, and it has high ideals, even if it doesn't quite live up to them. At times it comes across like an amateur bookstore writing club effort. Some of the dialogue is cringeworthy, but it does have an interesting structure, weaving together the stories of attorney Lily and her young and underprivileged immigrant clients, Rosa and Milla, who were deceived into coming into America under false pretenses, only to become sex trafficked, regardless of their wildly differing backgrounds and reasons. All three women have unwillingly found themselves in this same small Florida town, all feeling trapped and looking for a way out. The lead character, attorney Lily, is overachieving and altruistic. She implies everyone and everything depends on her, that her goals and intentions are for the best. She sets things in motion and gets things done. Everyone else is just an obstacle in her way until she could convince them otherwise. To me, she came across a little like Tracy Flick from Election. Yet, despite her intelligence and credentials, she seems insecure and overcompensating. She's far too focused on her appearance, her age, and other people's opinions of her. I lost track of how many times she or others referred to herself as intoxicating, lovely, cute, brilliant, with a comforting smile, or that everyone thought she was decades younger than her 35 years, or worrying about stretch marks and sagging. Plus, she uses words like ugh and seriously far too often, probably in an attempt to come across as young and hip. I get the sense Wendy finds power in her eyes like Samson did his hair. I notice characters in her book often made note of Lily and her bright eyes. I also wonder if the image of that brightly blue-eyed woman on the cover of This Is Our Story was taken of Wendy herself. Sure looks like her. And in her real-life police interview, just hours after her ex-husband's shooting, Wendy casually dropped how a liquor store employee complimented her eyes. Why on earth would she feel compelled to say that to a homicide detective while her ex was dying in the ER? Even her author photo here on Amazon has unnaturally glowing eyes, almost a fluorescent teal. I've heard that they may be fake colored contacts. Window to the soul? But as for her book, the pages have a lot of white space, wide margins, open text spacing, and short chapters, so it's a fast read. However, it contains unnecessary and annoying footnotes which distract from the narrative flow and could easily be absorbed into the text. Wendy qualifies this as a lawyer habit, but it really just seems like her ingratiating attempt at being clever, funny, and witty. You'd think being sold into sex slavery would be an unfathomable, scary situation ripe for page-turning tension, but Wendy's style of writing never really conveys much true fear or malice. How Rosa and Milla were tricked into coming to America and their fear of reprisal if they did not obey their new masters was very interesting. However, the situations they find themselves forced into afterward, slave labor, sex abuse, were surprisingly the most boring parts. So what should be empathetic and gripping is bland, simplistic, and often confusing. At one point, a minor character dies in her sleep and then just disappears. I realize the book was written in first person, so not all events can be explained. But as a reader, we're left wondering what happened. Where did they take the body? What's going on? Who did what to whom again? So the women's stories are a little too condensed, sugar-coated, and lacking any real insight or emotional attachment. Wendy often refers to the three women watching TV shows and movies like Designing Women and Friends and Sex and the City, Steel Magnolias, Gilmore Girls, and Pretty Woman throughout the novel, which feels a tad out of place and unrealistic considering the seriousness of the topic. Interestingly, Wendy placed an emphasis on Hollywood and acting throughout the book. It was Milla's dream to be an actress, and attorney Lily boasted she could be really convincing in any performance that everything she did in a courtroom as a lawyer was just acting, and that it was frightening how good she considered herself at it. Reading that, it made me reevaluate Wendy's police station interview, her performance on the stage during the trials, and made me question how much of her testimony might have been just acting, crying, playing dumb, avoiding questions, batting her eyes at the jury, etc. Lily in the book also confesses she only has rare bouts of honesty, which also seemed another surprising Freudian slip. That was the main reason I bought this book, trying to connect the dots between the real-life Wendy and the fictional counterpart Lily. So little written admissions like that were fascinating when considering actual oral testimony and evidence. The book takes an odd turn during the final few chapters. Lily and Josh's marriage seems to disintegrate out of nowhere, and for no real reason I could discern other than Lily's heroic efforts at her all-consuming job. Josh came across as a decent guy who was clearly in love and didn't do anything intentionally bad to Lily other than relocate to a place she hated, or do little things like make dinner without asking what she wanted first. Lily also mentions his bad breath twice. She wants to come across as sympathetic victim herself, but she sounds entitled, petty, and snarky. When I ordered the book, I was hoping for lots of down and dirty details of the Josh, Lily, Wendy, Dan marriage. No doubt the reason why prosecution and defense lawyers read her book too. But alas, there weren't that many, and the book just kind of ends with everyone going their separate ways. I won't give away too many other spoilers because some of them did catch me completely by surprise, even if it wasn't really believable. If you're interested in the ongoing Markel murder trials, and it is an incredible case, a whodunit as endlessly complex and debatable as O.J. or JonBenet Ramsey, this book is definitely worth buying because it's such a fascinating piece of pre-murder evidence. But reviewed as a piece of literature on its own, it's merely interesting and nothing spectacular. So it's interesting, right? She's making... Well, okay, so that's about Wendy there. Let's see. Okay, so let's look at a little bit at the Adelson family here. Wendy Jill Adelson is the daughter of Donna Sue Adelson and Dr. Harvey J. Adelson of Coral Springs, Florida. And she was married to Dan Eric Markel, the son of Ruth Markel and Phil Markel of Toronto. Wendy was 26 when she got married, and she kept her name. She was a third-year law student at the University of Miami, and she graduated magna cum laude from Brandeis University. She received a master's in international relations from Cambridge, where she was a Gates Scholar. Her father had a dental practice in Tamarack, Florida, where her mother was a patient care coordinator. Okay, and then Wendy joined Dan on the FSU faculty, but resigned from her post as a clinical professor in January of 2015. She was not eligible for tenure, so one can understand why she wanted to leave FSU. Okay. She moved back to South Florida, where her parents and brother live, and currently clerks for Judge Adalberto Jordan of the 11th Circuit. Dr. Harvey Adelson, Donna Adelson, and Dr. Charlie Adelson at that time continued to work in their South Florida dental practice, the Adelson Institute for Aesthetics and Implant Dentistry. The Institute's elaborate website, let's check that out. I don't think it's around anymore. No, it's not. FloridaSmileMaker.com. Well, it's no longer there because they sold it. Dr. Harvey Adelson is a cosmetic dentist. He grew up in New York. He graduated from the University of Buffalo with a BS in molecular biology and then in Temple University for his DMD. He moved to Florida in 1973 and has been practicing in Florida area ever since. He enjoys photography, yoga, and tennis. Charlie Adelson was a periodontist, a gum specialist. He grew up in Florida, graduated from the University of Central Florida in Orlando. We found out a little more about how he was failing out of dental school, how he was pushed through, all of that lovely stuff, huh? Donna, wife of Harvey and mother of Charlie and Wendy and Robert, who they're estranged from, is the patient care coordinator in the practice. She graduated from Queens College with a BA in education. She taught elementary school and raised 3 children before joining her husband's practice. She enjoys travel, tennis, and spending time with family. Okay, let's see. Now, the Adelsons were not fans of Dan Markel, their former son-in-law, but they worship Wendy Adelson. There's a shrine-like area of the Adelsons' house, not quite a room, more like a hallway, that's dedicated almost entirely to Wendy, with pictures of her since she was a child. Wendy gloated about the shrine area as if it was a special thing. But it was much more eerie than special. The focus on Wendy as special was palpable. see. Okay. So how did this go down? On July 16th, that's when Luis Rivera and Sigfrido Garcia left North Miami. They traveled north to Tallahassee and they arrived after midnight the next day. A West Tennessee street motel shows that Rivera checked in at about 1 a.m. on July 17th. A resident of the Ashford Club apartment complex on Thomasville Road said a bluish silver Prius-like car was parked in the southeast corner of the complex parking lot one weekday morning before the Friday murder. On July 17th, Rivera calls the witness they met with in June. The witness rents them a hotel room on North Monroe Street for the night. The reservation was made in the witness's name. Investigators say both Garcia and Rivera's cell phones were in the area of Markel's home twice during the day. The witness later identified both Rivera and Garcia in photo lineups. On July 18th at 8:50 a.m., Dan Markel leaves his home, drops his sons off at Creative Play School on Tharp Street, which is about 5 miles from his house. 9:12, he arrived at Premier Fitness in Market Square. Surveillance shows that Prius, and that Prius just waited around. It moved around in different parts of the parking lot while Dan Markel was in there working out. At 9:58 a.m., Garcia sent a text message. And at 10 a.m., Garcia's phone ceased activity. At 10:38 a.m., Markel leaves Premier and drives towards Thomasville Road. The Prius follows him. Markel returns home. He's talking on his cell phone when he abruptly stops and tells the caller someone he doesn't recognize is in his driveway. The person then hears a loud grunt and muffled background conversation followed by labored breathing. Markel could no longer talk. At 11:02, the Tallahassee Police Department received a report of a shooting outside at Markel's home. After hearing a gunshot, a neighbor said he looked out his window and saw a car similar to a Prius backing out of Dan Markel's driveway. Markel was found slumped over in the driver's side of his Honda Accord with a gunshot wound to his head. Video footage from 2 Star Metro buses showed the same Prius on Thomasville Road before and after the murder. Surveillance videos from a bank, a Leon County government building, and a store show the Prius following Markel's car that morning. At 12:29 p.m., Garcia's phone powers on. He receives several text messages and notifications. At 12:30 p.m., he calls Katie Magmanua from Lake City near I-75, located at about an hour and a half from Tallahassee. At 6:45 p.m., as they return to North Miami, the Prius pulls into a drive-through ATM. The next minute, a transaction is made from Rivera's checking account. Let's see here. So that's how that went down. And then they have that ATM picture. Let's see here. Let's see here. For nearly 10 years, the murder of Dan Markel centered on a single sort of question. Did his ex-wife's family, motivated by an ugly custody dispute, hire hitmen to murder him? Today, a jury concluded that it did, and it convicted Charles Adelson, the former brother-in-law of the murdered professor Dan Markel, of first-degree murder, conspiracy to commit murder, and solicitation of murder. He's going to face a likely sentence of life in prison. His reaction was that he closed his eyes and he mouthed no and put his head down when that verdict was read at the Leon County Courthouse in Tallahassee, Florida. The jury deliberated for a little more than 3 hours after 8 days of testimony, including Mr. Adelson himself, who took the stand and testified in his own defense. Mr. Adelson is 47 years old. He was a periodontist from Fort Lauderdale, and he's the 4th person convicted in Dan Markel's death, which has been dissected over the years in news articles, television shows, and a podcast. It's been more than 9 years since Danny Markel was brutally murdered in cold blood while he was sitting in his car in his garage. The murder was arranged, prosecutors said, through Catherine Magbanua, Mr. Adelson's girlfriend at the time, who had 2 children with Mr. Garcia, one of the hitmen, and Garcia is the one that pulled the trigger. Luis Rivera, the other part of the hitmen, pled guilty to second-degree murder in 2016. He was sentenced to 19 years in prison, and he testified against Mr. Garcia. He testified against Katie Magbanua and Charlie Adelson. Sigfrido Garcia was found guilty of first-degree murder and conspiracy to commit murder in 2019, and he was sentenced to life in prison. So Katie Magbanua had the same jury, but they couldn't decide on a verdict. Prosecutors retried her case later on because delays caused by the pandemic. She was found guilty of first-degree murder, conspiracy to commit murder, and solicitation of murder. Her sentence was life in prison with 2 additional 30-year sentences to run consecutively with her life term. Now, she was offered a plea deal and immunity and all this stuff, and she didn't take it. Now she worked with prosecutors, but we don't know what's going to happen to her. Why tell the truth now? The lead prosecutor, Georgia Kappelman, asked her. I believe that the truth needs to come out now so that the family can get some type of closure, Katie Magbanua said. Charlie Adelson was arrested in April of 2022, nearly 8 years after the murder. When might Donna Adelson be arrested? I wonder when he will be arrested. Okay. So let's see here. Let me go to the chat. Okay, let's see if you have any questions. Hi, Marion Ann Bays. How are you? Did you follow this case, Marion? Hi, Hal. 9,000. Haven't seen you in a long time. Hi, Jane. How How are you? If anybody wants to call in, you're free to call in and talk about it, okay? Hi, Liza. Hi, K-Rox. Okay. All right. Anyway, let's see now. So, Marianne, did you follow this trial in this case? Interesting to know how you feel. Okay, so let's see what Donna Adelson is doing right now. Okay, let's see. Okay, so the first person that Donna Adelson called after the bump, and the bump was when the undercover investigator, FBI agent, went undercover as someone that might be extorting or wanting to extort Donna Adelson. So the first person she calls is Charlie. And she says, I got some paperwork hand-delivered to me. Charlie says, is it the IRS? No, she says. Can I ask you a question? Who is the paperwork sent from? Charlie asks. And Donna says, it was something that came hand to hand as I exited the building today. Charlie asks, was it anonymous? Donna says, oh no, not anonymous. I just don't want to discuss it on the phone. I would just like for you to review it and give me some feedback on what your thoughts are. Okay, then Charlie called her back again and says, so was it at another bad review on Yelp? Particularly, his mother said. I'm not being sued, Charlie asked. Donna says no. If someone says you're a bad dentist, it doesn't mean you're a bad dentist, Charlie said. Donna said they should meet for dinner and Charlie should bring cash. He says, is the person like threatening you or anything? She says, you really never know how to interpret these things. He says, do you want to take a picture of the letter and send Me, what someone sent you? She said, no. He says, is the person threatening you? She says, I don't think we should. I don't think we should talk. Charlie says, I mean, if people threaten you, you go to the police. And then he called her a third time and said, don't talk about this in the apartment or any other place. And he said, that's really crazy. Are they trying to ask for money or something? Mama Donna says, yeah. If it's really something like that, it sounds probably like you go to the police, he said. Did the person give you like any time frame or anything? What did they ask you for? He says. The TV was probably about 5, she responds. So that's the TV. This whole TV has become such an integral part of this. But it's probably about 5. She means 5,000. That's what they asked for. And mentioned, an ex-girlfriend. After the recording was played, the agent testified that Donna Adelson bringing out a TV was important because Charlie had joked about buying a TV instead of a hitman in the past. The prosecution also asked multiple times to affirm that in none of those calls did Donna mention Magbanua or Dan Markel's names. And then Charlie phoned Magbanua and told Katie about the interaction his mom had on the street that day. That was also published in court. And he told Katie something regarding her son, something regarding his ex-girlfriend, and the person asking my mom for some money. What? Katie says. Charlie says they spoke to her for a few minutes. They explained that they need to be paid some money. For what? Katie asks. My mom doesn't want to talk about it on the phone, he said. I feel for your mom. Like, what the H? She was kind of like a little bit rattled, Charlie says. Katie says, asked why he reached out to her. Why me? You have 1,000 ex-girlfriends. Did you have a fight with any of your other exes? Charlie says, I thought they mentioned your name. He also said he'd called her because she was his last ex-girlfriend. Charlie was planning to see his mother the next day. He and Katie made plans to meet afterwards. The agent testified after the recording that Katie was not Charlie's last girlfriend. Katie and Charlie did end up meeting at Dolce Vita. Remember, they were completely recorded there, and that's what led to Charlie's arrest when they were able to clean up the audio. So now, where the freak is Donna, right? Where is Donna? So hang on a minute. Let's see here. So what a relief. Dan Markel's family. felt. His sister, his dad, his mother, all very elated with the verdict there. Now let me see something here. Okay. And that Colin Strickland with that Armstrong case, what a loose cannon that guy is, huh? Stepping on the photographer, pushing down the other camera. What a nutcase. Okay, let's see here. Trying to get this open here. It just doesn't want to cooperate. No, I think I just left the live, just closed everything, and I just closed the live chat as well. That's good. That's not really good. Oh my gracious. Come on. Fighting. Okay. So let's look. Somebody's asking whose trial is next. Donna for sure. Wendy should be next. She texted her brother when she saw the police. How sweet. Then erased it. Can't wait to see Mommy Dearest up there. I loved the prosecutor's line. He's a smart, wealthy, successful man. He's also a smart, wealthy, successful murderer. 6 months' time, a knock on Charlie's cell door. It's the prosecutor. Will commute your sentence to 19 years if you give up Donna and Wendy, or you die in jail. Think about it. Harvey's in the clear, but he will suffer too. Donna will be next. Don't know what they can actually get on Wendy. Donna is next. Not enough evidence against Wendy or Harvey. Donna and Wendy. They both knew and were in on it. Unfortunately, I don't think they have anything on Wendy. My bet is on just Donna next. Hold on a minute, I just lost my thing. I do not believe they will get the rest of the co-conspirators. I think this all was planned. They have to go for Donna and Wendy. Harvey too. Donna first. Patsy, all of them, another Murdoch family. Donna, step right up. Donna and definitely Wendy. Donna for sure, but Donna is booking a vacation about now. Donna, then Wendy. Both Donna and Wendy. Let's see. Donna. Donna is next. Donna. Wendy and Donna tried together, first degree, just as Georgia Kappelman said less than 2 hours ago. Stay tuned. Ooh. Donna, then Wendy. Probably Donna. Wendy. Mama. Wendy's days of liberty are numbered. She admitted a lot, which helps her defense, as she can't be prosecuted for her testimony, but it made clear her involvement in the conspiracy and likely face charges. Foolish to think these folks can get away with murder. 10% do. No doubt Donna. They get her at the airport on the way back from holiday. Donna for sure. So where is Donna Adelson? Who knows where Donna Adelson is? They did not show up in court the entire time. Oh, Donna. Where did you go, Donna? Donna is her name. Okay. Marion, would you like to call in? You're welcome to call in if you would like. I gotta get something. I'll be right there. Hang on a minute. I gotta get something. I'll be right there. I can still talk to you. Anybody hear about Binky yet? Let's see what else is going on, okay? That teacher shot by the 6-year-old is going to be able to proceed with a $40 million lawsuit against the school district. Former victim advocate offered plea deal after abusing an 8-year-old at a hotel. Wow, great. Prominent radio, wow. A prominent radio, here, hold on, let me put his picture over here. This is crazy. Prominent Filipino radio host is dead after police say someone shot him while he was hosting a Facebook live stream from his home in the Philippines on Sunday morning. Wow. The accused shooter pretended to be an audience member before murdering the 57-year-old Juan Wamalan. Thousands of viewers watched the attack as Juan went on the air with 94.7 Kalamba Gold FM. The victim's wife rushed him to an area hospital following the shooting, where he was pronounced dead. The shooter, according to police, is not seen on the video, but investigators released a sketch of the suspect on Monday morning. The Washington Post reported the suspect is described as a male in his 40s who was wearing a green shirt and black short pants and a red cap. Colonel Dwight Monado said the victim was in a heated spat with two people prior to the shooting. The gunman fled the scene on a motorcycle with another person following the shooting. Police say the shooter snatched Juan's necklace before leaving the scene. Attacks on journalists will not be tolerated in our democracy, and those who threaten the freedom of the press will face the full consequences of their actions, Ferdinand Marcos Jr., President of the Philippines, wrote on Twitter. Okay, well, that's sad. And then a California student get over there. Is missing in Central America. Relatives say 29-year-old Nancy Neg vanished on October 19th at a yoga retreat by Lake Atillan in Guatemala. The last 2 weeks have been a living hell because when we first got the news that she was missing, we had so many questions, says Nikki, her sister. What happened? Where is she now? Is there a chance she's alive? We don't know anything. Nancy's from Monterey Park, California, east of Los Angeles, and she flew out on October 14th, and just a few days into the vacation, the retreat organizer contacted Nancy's father to say Nancy could not be found. This was the second time that Nancy attended the yoga retreat at the lake, a popular tourist area. Complicating the search is that people who might have been with Nancy around the time she vanished have not been forthcoming. Our search efforts have been hampered by insufficient information regarding the exact circumstances and location of Nancy's disappearance due to failure of key witnesses, many of whom have returned to the United States in the past week to step forward and provide a witness report. Guatemala's Navy stopped searching for Nancy after 72 hours, prompting the family to hire private search teams, which have combed through the area. The family is raising more money to help cover the costs of those private search efforts. Charles Sharp, co-owner of a helicopter company hired by the family, says the lack of information from witnesses leaves open multiple possibilities about what happened to Nancy. It could potentially be a murder or a homicide. We don't know. The Guatemalan authorities are leading the investigation, but the FBI is assisting, and the family also has been in touch with the State Department and other government representatives. Nancy works in the Alhambra Unified School District where she helps students with disabilities. She's a graduate of California State University, Los Angeles. Nikki says she has a message for her big sister. We just really want to find Nancy and bring her home. We want the truth. We want to understand what happened. Well, prayers she has that. They find her. Time is of the essence. We're racing against the clock to bring Nancy home. It's been an ongoing nightmare, not only not knowing what happened to Nancy, if we'll ever get her back. All my family wants to bring our daughter home. Please help us to do so. Okay, well, I'm going to tell you that I've been up because I was like up and ready for this at like 6 today for this trial. I'm really, really worn out, and this is my second live of the day, so I'm going to do the word game and then I'm going to go to bed because I have a really busy, busy day tomorrow and I've got a lot of appointments and a lot of things I have to do. So let me do this. Come on. Come on. What? What happened? No. Testify. Oh my gosh. Ties. Oh, wait a minute. Yeti. Hold on a minute. Oh my gosh, stop it. Yeti, I said. Oh my gosh. It won't listen to me. Look at this. Yeti. That's crazy. Oh, I know, yes. Okay. Oh, site. Okay. Yeah. What? Hi, 60. No. Oh shoot, I gotta put my phone, hold on, I gotta put my phone and my watch on the charger or I'm not gonna have, well, my phone's okay. I put my watch on the charger because it's like, your watch is dying, your watch is dying. I'll be right there. Let me find, I gotta put my watch on the charger. Do 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 do. Hang on a minute, I gotta get some nuts. Some nuts. Where are my healthy, high energy nuts? Here they are. High energy nuts. I need some high energy to finish this. I love these. Okay. Sorry. Let's see. Come on, Kai. Really? Hi, Taco. You're welcome, Taco. Good to see you. Haven't seen you in a long time. Oh, I got it on my own. I got it. Okay. I got it. It's Yetis. Thank you for being live so late and consistently. You're welcome. There's only one word left, Kai. What? Sloop? What? Sloof? No. Folios, right? Hi. Very good. Folios. Folios and osiotes and little lambs eat ivy. Folios. Come. Oops. Mope. Yeah, mope. Hi, Diabolical Debbie. How are you? Oh, guys, I'm not gonna last too long. I gotta go to sleep. Okay, guys, I'm gonna go to sleep. Compel. Oh, let me see if that works. That'll be great. That sounds like it'll work. Yay! Thank you, High 61. Oh, you guys, I was up so early for this trial, 6 o'clock in the morning, and then going all day long. And tomorrow I've got to go all day long too. So I've got to get some rest because I'm really, really tired. But I will see you guys tomorrow, and I hope that everybody has a good night, and God bless. Prayers for all that need them, and take care, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.